Good morning, everyone. Before I made a video on planting acorns in containers, and I mentioned that I would talk a little bit about direct acorn planting. And so today I thought I might make a quick video for you to see some of the stuff I'm using when I'm planting these acorns. Currently, this year I planted about 250 acorns. So I've got quite a few in the ground. We'll see how many come up. But I'll also show, depending on where you're located, it's pretty simple, some areas, and then others you're going to, maybe you want to use some different types of cages or something like that to protect the acorns while they're growing. So let me show a couple tools here. All right, so of course the easiest and simplest tool is just get a small spade and go start digging holes and putting your acorns, put them, an inch to inch and a half deep. Depending on where you are, you may want to use some different stuff, and so that's what I'm going to show. Around here, some areas have quite a bit of topsoil, and other gets a lot of clay pretty quick. So I planted probably 100 with just that simple spade there, and just like I said, dug a small hole. As I said before, I generally wait till, let's see if that'll focus, they're sprouting, so I know that the acorns are good. I only do that just so I don't waste time with a bunch of bad acorns. I probably have right now on the acorns, I probably have 75% are good, 25% were bad that I collected this year, so I don't want to waste my time planting the 25. But if you're planting a lot, maybe you just plant them all. Here are a couple. So I use this auger a lot. As I said before, here's the containers that I use. This is an action oak. That's a pecan that I'm growing. But to plant those, I actually use this 6-inch auger. I bought this, I don't know, from Sam's or somewhere on special, and it digs holes pretty quick. I actually dig almost the entire length of the auger depth wise, and then backfill a lot of soil underneath. That gives, in clay soil, it gives the roots extra a place to grow quickly, because you break up the soil underneath them. But you do want to make sure and pack it down pretty good before you backfill. Here, that's a 6-inch auger. Here's a 4-inch auger. I use this 4-inch auger a lot planting just the acorns, and again, depending on the soil type, planted a lot with just the spade, but there were a lot of areas that had a little more, the soil was more compacted, and so I went ahead and used the auger, drilled down, pretty far, backfilled it in, and then put the acorn. That allows that taproot to grow extremely deep the first year. So now let's talk about survival rates. So a lot, depending on your area, depending on what kind of pests or animals you have around, squirrels, everything else will start digging up your acorns. And so depending again on your area and how many you're planting, how many you want to survive, you may want to build some basic cages. This one's actually probably a little better. This one here, you can see I already tied it with a cotton string on the bottom, but this is just a basic cage, and you actually bury it. When you bury it up to about probably right in this area. So all those little arms are actually buried in the ground and keep it from coming out. This protects from things from getting it from underneath, and also from the top side. This one here, the wire, when it's flat, I measured out about 12.5 inches, and then rolled it up, and then cut the wires, and it removes every other wire, and folded. You can kind of see how that's folded over. And again, that keeps it from coming out of the ground, but also protects your acorn. Here's this little smaller one. I still need to tie this one up at the bottom. But you can see the exact same concept. This one was about, I believe, 8 inches worth of wire on laying flat, and then rolled it up. Again, need to tie that up. Since these acorns, a lot of people say, oh, you drop 2 acorns in there. Because those are already sprouted, I'll only put 1 if I'm using this type protector. And again, bury it, you know, somewhere up to here. So put some soil in there, drop your acorn in, and then go ahead and put more soil on top of it, and it'll grow. This cotton string will just degrade over time, and this actually just opens up and the roots come through that without obstruction. So it's a pretty good system. You know, if you're planting in the middle of woods already, you're going to probably need some type of protector. There's been quite a few studies out there on how many the acorn survival rate, depending if it's deep in the woods or open plains. So you guys, depending on where you're at, may want to use something like that. It is a little time consuming to make these, I'm not going to lie. So that's why most of my acorns, the 250 I planted so far this year, all did not have cages. I built some of these cages for some of the areas that are going to be in some wooded areas that I know is going to be dug up pretty quick if I don't have some kind of protector on them. So again, these are just some of the simple things I use to plant the acorns. Feel free to ask any questions that you may have, but it's a good way to start your acorns. If you're only planting, you know, handful, 5 or 6, you know, these cages might be a really good option for you. All right, thanks. Hopefully everyone, if you have questions, please ask. Otherwise, hope you learned something. Thanks.